Chapter 579 to 580. It seems that because the Akatsuki organization is unable to get any information from any other source or any other shinobi village, they have decided to finally turn their attention to Konoha village to seek out information, thought Kuroto, with a thoughtful look on his face which he did not hide from Obito. No doubt, after the previous war against the 5 great shinobi villages and Amatsukami, Akatsuki has become more and more afraid of Amatsukami. The very action of Obito sneaking inside Konoha in person and blackmailing Kuroto using threats, coercion, and hostage that he has in order to make Kuroto his spy shows that Akatsuki is getting more and more impatient due to their continuous inability to find any useful information about the Amatsukami. It's just that Akatsuki's, or should it be said that Obito's, luck is really bad. Whether through intentional or unintentional coincidence, the person Obito ended up choosing for the purpose of obtaining intelligence on Amatsukami turned out to be Kuroto, the very leader of Amatsukami. As a result, not only did Obito fail miserably in what he intended to do, but he also exposed the focus of Akatsuki organization's next course of actions. But it's a pity that Obito didn't realize the reality, and how big of a blunder he made. When he saw the contemplative look on Kuroto's face under his intimidation, Obito felt that he only needs to give a little more push, and Hyuga Kuroto will give in. Thinking so, Obito said with Madara's deep voice, "It's time to decide. I don't have all day long to spend here with you." Seeing that Obito seems to be getting impatient, Kuroto thought, "I guess there is no harm in agreeing to him by doing. So, I can find an opportunity to lay down a trap and then get rid of him directly by taking advantage of his overconfidence and carelessness." After making such a decision, Kuroto deliberately showed a tangled expression on his face, as if he was still hesitating. And sure enough, Kuroto's acting skills worked just as he intended them to. When Obito saw that Hyuga Kuroto was still hesitating, his face under the mask turned gloomy, he subjected Kuroto to cold killing intent and said in a threatening tone of voice, "It seems that you still don't understand the meaning of my words. I am not here to negotiate with you. I am here to tell you what you have to do. If you don't agree to my conditions, then the consequences you will face will not be good. Oh, by the way, I heard that, aside from a disciple, you have a fiancé. What's her name? Hyuga Yui, correct? Then there is also the daughter of the Miko of the Land of Demons, who is like a sister to you. She seems to be the same. Age as Hyuga Neji. Her name's Shion, right?" Kuroto's heart jumped when Obito mentioned Yui and Shion, and he coldly looked at Obito. Seeing the coldness in Kuroto's eyes, Obito shrugged. "Don't give me that look. So long as you do as I say, no harm will come to them." Then he took a pause and added in a bewitching tone, "If you do as I say, and bring me some useful information about Amatsukami, then I can even help you get rid of the cage that is currently binding your fate and limiting you." Kuroto narrowed his eyes and asked with a confused expression, "What do you mean?" Obito chuckled. "Oh, don't play so dumb. You know exactly what I mean. The cage bird cursed seal. If you manage to give me useful information, then I can help you get rid of the cage bird cursed seal." Obito obviously felt that just threatening and blackmailing Hyuga Kuroto might not be enough, so after thinking a little bit, he decided to throw out a card that almost no Hyuga clansman from the branch family can resist. After all, it is a well-known fact that the members of the Hyuga branch family generally detest the cage bird cursed seal. The stronger and more talented a shinobi from the branch family is, the more disgusted they will be towards the cage bird cursed seal that controls their destiny and life and death. So, Obito felt that even Hyuga Kuroto won't be able to resist the temptation of getting rid of the cage bird cursed seal, and exactly as he intended, when Kuroto heard that the Akatsuki can even help him get rid of the cage bird cursed seal, he was taken aback. "Help me break free of the cage bird cursed seal?" Obito nodded. "Yes." Whether Obito is being serious and intends to help Kuroto get rid of the cage bird cursed seal or not is something that perhaps only Obito knows, but Kuroto felt that Obito wasn't being serious and just intends to present a carrot in front of him to tempt him and control him using that temptation. The reason why he thinks as such is that Akatsuki doesn't have the ability to crack the cage bird cursed seal. Kuroto is sure of this. He is so sure because even Kuroto, who is a Hyuga and an expert in Fuin Jutsu, hasn't managed to find a way to completely break the cage bird cursed seal as of yet. So how can Akatsuki find a way? But for instance, Kuroto does assume that Akatsuki has the ability to find a way to break the cage bird cursed seal. Would they devote their energy to it? Kuroto doesn't think they will, because it is of no use to them. Therefore, Kuroto knows that even the temptations that Obito presented before him are just empty words with no sincerity, so he didn't take them seriously. Besides, even if Obito was being sincere, Kuroto wouldn't bother, because the cage bird cursed seal does not limit him. Of course, even if Kuroto knew the truth, he still decided to play along with Obito. Kuroto's face showed a moved expression, and while rubbing his forehead, he asked in a surprised tone, "Are you being serious? Can Akatsuki organization help me get rid of this caged bird cursed seal?" Obito nodded confidently. "Of course, there's nothing in this world that the Akatsuki organization cannot do," then added in a convincing tone, "We have the rinnegan. In the face of those eyes, no jutsu exists that cannot be broken. Cage bird cursed seal is just a stronger seal. There's just no way it wouldn't be broken." Hearing these words, Kuroto seemed convinced and nodded immediately. "All right. I can try to investigate all the intelligence that the village has about Amatsukami. As long as I do find something useful, I will relay it to you. But do make note that I am not giving you any guarantee." Obito seemed satisfied and nodded. "If you want to break free of the cage bird cursed seal, then you will make sure that you will bring me useful intelligence about Amatsukami. As long as you give me something useful, you will be rewarded accordingly." Kuroto nodded slightly. Then, as if he suddenly remembered something, he asked, "But how should I contact you? You should know that intelligence is only valuable and useful if it is passed on immediately. So, in order to relay intelligence to you, I would need some method of contact." Kuroto knows that as long as he can actively contact Obito and call him to the location he wants, he can prepare advanced traps and get rid of this troublesome guy. So a means of contact with Obito is what Kuroto wants to have. "I know, but you don't have to worry about contacting me. I will come to you on my own, but do note that my eyes are always on you. If you try to deceive me, then be prepared for the consequences." Obito said so in a deep tone of voice, then disappeared without giving Kuroto any chance to say otherwise. Undoubtedly, Obito also considered the possibility that Kuroto might give in to his intimidation on the surface, and then report everything that happened right now to the Hokage and Amatsukami, which was bound to make things difficult for him. As such, Obito had no intention of giving out anything that might make things troublesome for him. Shh. Watching Obito disappear, Kuroto clicked his tongue in annoyance and then sighed at his own carelessness. This time, Kuroto was caught off guard, and that allowed Obito to get so close to him. One of the training grounds near the Uchiha clan district, wish, 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 tuk, 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 tuk. With the sound of cutting through the wind, several shurikens that were thrown from midair hit the center of the targets. After landing swiftly on the ground, Itachi removed the black cloth covering his eyes, and seeing that all targets were hit perfectly, Itachi smiled slightly, then looked at the sky and sighed. His younger brother Sasuke has been abducted, and there has been no news about him so far. Although Itachi believes in Kuroto's judgment and understands that they can't be hasty, he is still very anxious and worried, and only by doing intense training and shuriken throwing practice is he able to calm his mind. "Sasuke, please be safe," thought Itachi to himself. Clap, 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 clap. Just when Itachi was momentarily distracted, suddenly the sound of applause came from behind him, which was followed by a deep voice. "Wonderful technique, as to be expected of Uchiha Itachi." As soon as the sound of applause reached his ears, Itachi immediately leapt backwards and vigilantly watched the masked man with his 3-tomo Sharingan. Seeing Itachi's quick reflexes, the masked man wasn't surprised and said, "No need to be nervous. I am not here to kidnap you or kill you. I am just here to have a chat with you and probably make a deal with you." After leaving Kuroto's house, Obito didn't directly leave the village, but came to the Uchiha clan with the purpose of finding Uchiha Itachi. Itachi did not bother to do all that drama, and acting like Kuroto, he simply looked at the masked man, and after judging that the masked man was in an intangible state that would make it difficult for any of his attacks to be effective on him, Itachi concluded that making a move on the masked man was useless, so he asked blankly, "What kind of deal?" And exactly as Itachi judged, Obito was indeed in an intangible state. The reason is that currently he is near the Uchiha district, and Uchiha Shisui lives here. It has been unanimously agreed by everyone that Uchiha Shisui is currently the strongest shinobi among the 5 great shinobi villages, with his Mangekyu Sharingan and mastery over Senjutsu, and Obito really didn't want to risk fighting him. Therefore, even when in close presence, Obito chose to remain intangible. Well, that aside, hearing Itachi's question, the masked man brought up a topic that he thought Uchiha Itachi would definitely be interested in. There are 2 homusubi in the Amatsukami organization, and both of them are apparently Uchiha clansmen. I'm just wondering, aren't you curious about their identities and who the 2 of them are? Itachi replied calmly. Currently, I am more curious about your identity. Someone who is hiding behind a mask shouldn't really care about the identities of other masked people. Ha 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 ha. The masked man chuckled lightly, then said, "The 2 Uchiha with Mangekyu Sharingan cannot appear out of thin air. They must have had some background with the Uchiha clan, and they must have left some traces within the clan. I personally suspect that the 2 of them are probably Genin or Chunin, who went missing inexplicably during the 3rd Great Shinobi War. You are the eldest son of the current Uchiha Patriarch. As such, you are more than qualified to check the genealogy of the Uchiha clan and investigate their identities. As long as you help me find the identities of those 2, I can promise to return your brother back to you safe and sound." Itachi was perplexed by the masked man's words and asked again, "So you want me to help you find the identities of the 2 homusubi of the Amatsukami organization?" The masked man nodded lightly. "Yes. Just use the information you find about the possible identities of the 2 homusubi in exchange for getting back your brother. I don't think it's a bad deal, right?" Itachi stared at the masked man for a while, then nodded without any hesitation. "Sounds good. All right, I agree." Itachi obviously didn't trust the other party to simply hand over Sasuke, but this did not stop him from using this opportunity to temporarily ensure Sasuke's safety by agreeing to the masked man's so-called deal. Seeing that Itachi agreed, the masked man nodded slightly and said, "All right then, I will come to see you again," then disappeared without leaving any trace behind. Seeing that the masked man has left, Itachi didn't stay at the training field any longer and went in the direction of the Uchiha clan district. In a forest area outside Konoha village, the masked man who disappeared in front of Itachi appeared on a tree outside Konoha village. As the masked man come out of a spiraling whirl, the picture head of the Zetsu also phased out of the tree and said, "It appears that Konoha village has changed their sensing barrier, and this time they have added a mechanism that makes it difficult for me to pass through without being noticed. With this, I can no longer enter and exit Konoha village like before." As one of the 5 great shinobi villages, Konoha has always had a sensing barrier around the perimeter of the village that is managed by the barrier team of Konoha. In fact, the sensing barrier around Konoha has always been much more advanced and high-tech compared to the other shinobi villages because of the Fuinjutsu knowledge that Konoha inherited from the Uzumaki clan. Despite this advantage, because the previous sensing barrier had been in operation for a very long time, so its frequency and passcodes were known to many people like Orochimaru and others who were able to enter and exit Konoha at will. This time, since the village was being rebuilt from the scratch, the sensing barrier that was also destroyed along with the village was built anew with added mechanisms that would make it difficult for others to infiltrate the village. The masked man smiled slightly and said, "It doesn't matter. This sensing barrier will never be able to stop me. Moreover, the problem we have been facing in regards to having a good spy on Konoha village might also be solved soon enough." Hearing the masked man's words, Zetsu asked, "Does that mean your plan worked smoothly?" "Well, I did initiate the plan of developing spies in Konoha and came in contact with 2 shinobi today. One of them is the captain of an elite Anbu unit, while the other guy is the eldest son of the current Uchiha patriarch," said the masked man, then added after a short pause, "Given their identities and the positions they hold, they should be able to inquire and pass me something that might prove to be useful for us." Zetsu nodded, then asked doubtfully, "But are they credible enough?" When asked such a question, the masked man recalled his conversation with Hyuga Kuroto and Uchiha Itachi, the anger that Hyuga Kuroto had when he was put under duress, and the surprise and excitement that Hyuga Kuroto expressed upon hearing that he might be able to get rid of the cage bird-cursed seal. At the same time, the worried expression that Uchiha Itachi showed when remembering his younger brother Sasuke, all these scenes kept flashing in the masked man's mind, and after some time he said to Zetsu, "Of course, I can't be sure if they are credible enough or not, at least not yet, but I think we might just be able to obtain some useful intelligence from them using the hostages we have. After all, these people have yet to let go of their fetters. As long as the lives of their loved ones are in our hands, they will comply." White Zetsu nodded. "In that case, I hope that your informants can really help us find some information about the Amatsukami organization." But Black remained silent and didn't really have much hope from these 2 informants. After all, he has lived very long and knows a lot more than the masked man and the white Zetsu. It is just that he can't reveal his knowledge so easily, as that will bring trouble in his final plans. The masked man didn't know about Black Zetsu's thoughts, so after agreeing with white Zetsu, he thought about something and asked, "Did you find any new information about that guy Orochimaru? The Kyuubi's Jinchuriki is in his hands. We must obtain the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki as soon as possible." White Zetsu shook his head helplessly and said, with a frustrated tone, "No, Orochimaru seems to have abandoned all his previous bases. I am using my clones to find his new base, but as of yet, there is no lead. So, where exactly he is currently and what exactly he is doing is a complete mystery." The masked man knew Orochimaru's cautious and cunning nature, so he didn't blame Zetsu. And after a little thinking, he said, "Continue to try contacting him through the black market with the excuse of hostage exchange. So long as he covets Uchiha Sasuke, he might get tempted and as a result, end up showing some flaws that we will be able to take advantage of." Zetsu nodded lightly. "All right." The masked man thought about something again and said, "Also, assign Toby the role of contacting the 2 informants and obtaining intelligence from them at regular intervals." "Got it." Zetsu nodded, then asked, "Is there anything else?" "Nothing for now," said the masked man as he took one look in the direction of the village, then disappeared into the spiraling whirl. Zetsu too looked in that direction and phased inside the tree.